Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've been really looking forward to doing this lesson because I've heard a lot of misconceptions around this root salima. When I've heard people talking about what does the word Islam mean, I was watching the big questions. I don't even know if it's still on. It used to be on Channel 4. There were a group of people discussing what the word Islam means, and at one extreme you had Anjam Chowdhury saying Islam means submission. Islam is from the root istaslama, it means submission. And on the other extreme, you have the more liberal Majid Nawaz saying, Islam means peace. Islam is from the root salima. So, and they're both wrong and they're both right in quite interesting ways. So I'm going to go over this root salima and talk about its different verb forms, talk about where it actually comes from, so we can have more of a sophisticated understanding of what it actually means. Because these ideas are very simplistic by saying Islam means submission or Islam means peace. This is a very, very dumbed down, simplistic way of us understanding what the word Islam means. So we're going to go through the very nuts and bolts of it. The first thing that's quite important to understand is that verbs in Arabic have different forms. Similar to how in English the word, for example, construct, to construct, you could also say to deconstruct. You can add different suffixes and prefixes to make the verb different, have different meanings, have an opposite meaning even for construct and to deconstruct. But in Arabic there are often up to 10, up to 15 different verb forms. So I'm going to go through each of them individually from the same root where the word Islam comes from, so we can hopefully come to understand in a more well-rounded and holistic way what it actually means. So we'll start with number one. We'll start with this first form, which is the root as Majid Nawaz said, is salima. Salima. This is form one, which does actually mean, to be safe, maybe. To be safe. And from that word, from that verb even, salima, you get words like salam and salama. Salam and salama do really mean peace. That's fairly accurate to say that words from salima, like salam and salama, do actually mean peace. And they have really, really special status actually, even in the Quran, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Yasin, Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Salam, peace, is a word from your most merciful Lord. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. In Surah Yasin is ayah 58, if you want to look at it, inshallah. So that is what the first form means. This isn't where the word Islam comes from, this first form isn't, but that is the form salima that Majid Nawaz mentioned on Big Questions. So our second one is when the verb looks like sallama. Sallama. So rather than salima, it's sallama. And it's pretty closely related to what the first one means, but it's actually to make somebody else have peace. It's actually to wish peace upon somebody else. So when we say, like taslim, for example, when you say taslim, it's like saying assalamu alaikum, because you're saying peace and blessings be upon you. This is why that's called taslim. So it's actually to make somebody else have peace, or to wish peace upon somebody else, or to wish safety upon someone else. To wish peace upon someone else. And that's where the word, taslim comes from, as I said. Taslimun. Salamatun wa salamun. Okay. So this form one, salima, means to be safe yourself. And salamun means to have peace because you're safe. And the form two is to wish peace upon somebody else, or to wish safety upon someone else, which is where we get the word taslim from. I think it has a form three. Salama, which is to do with keeping the peace. I think it's to do with, maintaining peace and keeping the peace. It's from the same meaning. There's a consistent idea through all of these forms to do with keeping peace or maintaining peace or to having peace. But this fourth one that we're going to come on to is probably the most important for the discussion that we're having at the moment. The fourth form is the root aslama, aslama, which has the meaning to become a Muslim. It also has the meaning to submit or to surrender. It also has the meaning of peace. It also has the meaning of serenity. But it's by no coincidence that the form 1 is to do with being safe and to do with peace, and the form 10 is to do with submitting. And Islam is pretty much in between the two, at the form 4. Very close in between the two, because it does have these two meanings and does carry these same meanings. But that's not even alien to the English language. When we have people who seek asylum, the word asylum, I've no doubt, comes from the word aslama. When people seek asylum, aslama, asylum, they're coming to another country because they want peace. But to do that, they have to submit to the laws of the country. So they're submitting to the laws of the country in order to reach peace. But when people do aslama, and they become muslimun, and they become a Muslim, they are seeking peace by submitting, not to the laws of the country, but submitting to their Lord. When they come back to their Lord rather than coming to a safe country, they're coming to a safe Lord, who has said to them in the Quran, Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Salam is a word from your most merciful Lord. Anyway, so this is to do with the verb aslama is to become a Muslim. And that's its most sort of understood meaning. If you go to the Middle East and you say aslamtu, it means I became a Muslim. They won't understand it to mean you submitted or you looked for peace. They'll understand if you go and you say asbahtu musliman wa aslamt. I became a Muslim and I aslamt, I became a Muslim. They'll understand that it means you became a Muslim. That's its most direct, its most sort of clear meaning. And from this word we have the word Muslim, and we have the word Islam. Muslimun and Islamun. I won't go over to the nuts and bolts of this, but this is like the active participle. This is somebody who does that. So a Muslim is somebody who does Islam. Is a person who has done Aslama. This is the most important one that I wanted us to come to. I'm going to finish off the others, because there are a few others for us to go through, and it's important to see that this is sort of in between the two sort of most extreme meanings, submission and peace. So it does have a form 5, to do with being a guardian over. So our form 5, I'll put it here for us. So our form 5 will be, I'll do it in red for you so it all looks the same. Tasallama. With this sort of, you hold the L sound, tasallama, when there's a shadda at the top of it. Tasallama, which is to do with being the guardian over something, or, or to obtaining or having guardianship over something. So I'll put to be a guardian. To be a guardian over. There is a form 6, just meaning to reconcile with, or to make the peace with somebody else, but I don't know if that's... It is worth putting, I suppose. I'll put it just so that we do have it. And the form 6 looks like this. Tasalama. To reconcile between people. So there's still a consistent theme of to do with keeping the peace or to maintaining the peace, but there's usually something you have to do to get the peace. There's usually something to do with having peace, or to achieving peace, or to being a guardian over someone to give them peace, or to struggling to reach peace, which is what these different forms give the ideas of. We'll come on to the form 10. I think there is another form, there may be a form 8 maybe, but it'll have a similar meaning to the ones that are here. The form 10 is the one that our good friend Anjam Chowdhury, who's clearly a good representative for the entire Muslim community, said that Islam is from the root istaslama. Istaslama. is pretty directly translated to submitting or to giving up. Really, something I was when I was in Palestine studying, I heard there were some children watching Kung Fu Panda, and I always remember the panda when he's being like beaten up by Shifu or whatever. He says la astaslim, la astaslim, like I won't give up, I won't give up. So that's where that comes from. It's actually to do with surrendering or to giving up or to submitting. To submit or surrender. So those are the main verb forms, the main verbs that actually come out of this root selima. So we have our form 1, which literally is to do with being safe. We're just going to recap over these. To do with being safe, to do with peace. This is to do with wishing peace upon somebody else. Sallama. This form 3 is to do with keeping the peace, actually maintaining the peace that you have. This form 4, this is actually where the word Islam comes from. You know, you have two different opinions, two different extreme opinions. The more liberal opinion that said Islam means peace, which is actually just the form 1, and the more sort of equally less accurate but just more kind of aggressive, that Islam actually means just to submit. But the truth is actually in between. As usual, when you hear things from the media, you hear things from extreme opinions. The truth is somewhere in the middle, just like Islam is somewhere in the middle of these two opinions. So to become a Muslim or to achieve peace by surrendering to someone, just as I went over a second ago about the word asylum, seeking asylum is similar. The form 5, to sallama, to be a guardian over, or i.e. to keep somebody peaceful, to give somebody peace when you're a guardian over somebody. And then to salama, the form 6, to reconcile with, or to create peace out of a situation that isn't peaceful. And then finally we have our form 10, which is to submit, or to surrender, which is istaslama. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of how it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Islam means peace. As usual, when we're talking about Arabic words, it's usually a lot more complicated than a direct translation, that Islam means surrender, or Islam means peace. So hopefully that's a pretty concise way of looking at it. I'll just give you one more word which is quite interesting. I suppose the word is actually from the form 1, but the word for a ladder, somewhere to get to safety, a way of getting to safety, a ladder, is sulmun. Sulmun. Sulm is a ladder, meaning somewhere to get to safety. So that's quite interesting as well. There are all these different words that are derived from this one root, and so many Arabic roots are like this. I'm going to hopefully do a series on roots that are quite often misunderstood, like the verb qatala, meaning to kill, is misquoted all the time between fighting and killing. The root jahada, meaning like jihad, to fight. So I'm going to do a whole series on breaking down what these different roots mean, the different meanings that come out of these roots. So I hope you enjoyed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.